Did you see that? Little kitty? She's gone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. What is that intro? Hey, everyone. It's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Back with some every movie I watched last week. Watched a lot of movies last week. I ended up watching 21 movies last week, so that means I averaged 3 a day, which is actually my highest I've ever done on Letterboxd. Technically not true, but it's my second highest. Back in 2023, I was grinding towards the end of the year to try to get to my movie goal of, I think it was 200 movies that year. 400? I don't remember. Anyways. And I think in September, while I was going through the Friday the 13th movies, I ended up banging out 27 movies in a week, which is pretty crazy. And now I kind of have a goal to hit 30 in a week, which I've never done. So, yeah. Anyways, this week, 21 movies. There's a lot, but there's a lot we're basically not going to talk about because I watched what is now my least favorite franchise ever, starting it off with all the Hellraiser movies. Hellraiser. Yeah, we're going to start it off with Hellraiser Judgment, which I would say is probably my least favorite, but the bottom two are legitimately interchangeable because I ranked them both a 0 out of 100. Now, I kind of want to talk about Revelations first because I ranked it a 0 out of 100. It was fucking awful. There's not a single redeemable quality about this movie, and there was literally nothing I enjoyed about it. Going on to Hellraiser Judgment, same thing. But this one's honestly more impressive because it was my 200th movie of the year, which I really didn't want this to be my 200th movie of the year. I wanted it to be something good, something I love, something special, or something new that's highly, respected. And this one is actually pretty special because it is my 200th movie of the year, and it was a back-to-back 0 out of 100. Unreal, man. Unreal. Never thought that was going to happen, so it's kind of special to me for that reason, but that's it. Fuck no. This shit sucked. Anyways, let's move on to Hellraiser Deader, which I ranked at 8 out of 100. Fuck this movie, too. Moving on to Hellraiser Hellworld, which is actually a pretty important movie in this franchise because it's the reason I watched this franchise, and it was one of my goals to go through this franchise this year because Henry Cavill is the reason I wanted to watch these Hellraiser movies because at the time I knew he was in this movie and I wanted to watch it. At the time, I also thought there was only 4 or 5 Hellraiser movies, not 11 fucking dreadful ones. So, yeah. This one's important for the reason as to why I watched all these movies, but we're not talking about it either. 12 out of 100. Let's move on to Hellraiser Hellseeker, which I ranked at 18 out of 100. The main actor, Dean Winters, was absolutely fucking awful. Couldn't stand watching him in this movie. Brutal. Moving on to Hellbound Hellraiser 2. 25 out of 100. Still garbage. Nothing I enjoyed about it, really. I mean, at least it was watchable. A lot of these movies were not watchable, in my opinion. 25 out of 100. Hellraiser Bloodline. 27 out of 100. This one was fucking wild because it starts in space, then we go back in time to like the 1700s or 1800s, and then we get back to modern day of like the 90s, which is pretty crazy, especially thinking about it. There's like 3 very different centuries going on in in this franchise or in this movie, and it's fucking wild. 27 out of 100. Moving on to Hellraiser 3: Hell on Earth. I had a major crush on Terry until she became a Cenobite. Sorry for the spoilers. 30 out of 100. Moving on to Hellraiser, the 2022 remake of this franchise. It takes a different spin on the franchise. One I still don't enjoy. Ranked to 34 out of 100. Moving on to Hellraiser Inferno, which I ranked a 39 out of 100. This one was like almost okay. I ranked it a 39 out of 100. I had a few scenes I actually enjoyed and a plot I kind of enjoyed a little bit, but still, it's not a good movie, obviously. And then moving on to my favorite of the Hellraiser franchise, it is the original, which I rank to 52 out of 100 to be my favorite watch of the Hellraiser franchise. So yeah, that really fucking sucked going through all 11 of those movies, and that's half my week, pretty much, over half my week. I did not have a good time with these movies and this franchise. Truthfully, I would not recommend it at all. I'd probably recommend the first one and the new one, because the new one probably could be scary to some people, depending on what you're looking for, I guess. But truthfully, as a horror franchise, there's literally nothing scary about a single one of these movies. I struggled to get through the Friday the 13th movies, which I compared these to the Friday the 13th a lot, but there was really just nothing enjoyable about these movies, really, at all. And in Friday the 13th, it was at least enjoyable at times. Don't get me wrong, was it awful? Was it bad for the most part? Yes. But there were some enjoyable movies. One, I actually even ranked like a 3.5. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it. And of course, Jason Voorhees is fucking awesome. And I love Jason Voorhees. And he just gets more overpowered in every movie. Now, in this case, we have Pinhead for like 9 movies. And then the last 2 we have weird. I know, it just gets so bad. Anyways, I'd say this entire franchise was probably made on like a $40 million budget. It's just not good. And sometimes it shows. The practical effects in the original were pretty sweet, and that kind of carries on through like the original trilogy, and then it just kind of gets wonky. It doesn't look great as much as it did in like the first couple movies. Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, but overall I just didn't have a good time with this franchise, and truthfully I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to watch it, go ahead. It's not for me, that's for sure. Alright, so let's move on to some other movies. And I had a really random ass week this week. I'm sure you could tell by my thumbnail. It was a really, really random week. Don't really know what was going on. Anyways, Pokemon the movie, Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction, which I ranked at 56 out of 100. Watched a Pokemon trilogy this week. I seen that there were some Pokemon movies on Crave, which is pretty exciting because I didn't know that. I check Crave every once in a while for Pokemon movies, and I've decided to carry over one of my goals from last year, which was to watch more Pokemon movies, over to this year, which I didn't get to do, which is really the reason why I'm watching these movies. So yeah, got through a few of them this week. This one was decent. Well, it was okay. You know, it was fine. It ranked at a 56 out of 100. The voice acting is really hard to sit through for some of these because I feel like these movies are just very directly made for children, so it's a little hard to watch them at times, but it was okay. 56 out of 100. Moving on to Pokemon the movie, Volcanion, and the Mechanical Marvel. I didn't write much for this, but we love a good arc from Volcanion. Some banger music in this one as well. The score is really sweet, actually. There was multiple times when I noticed that the score was pretty sweet, and the music sounded pretty awesome throughout this movie, so I enjoyed that. And yeah, unfortunately, I just wish this trilogy was a little bit better, because it's not great. This is the X and Y trilogy, which I've never played X and Y, and I know a lot of people don't love X and Y, so we'll see how Z to A goes, I think later this year, which I'm really looking forward to because I've never had the chance to Mega Evolve, and I'm very, very, very much looking forward to do that, and hoping we get some new Megas this year as well, because I think Mega's the best like secondary evolution, and that's something that should just be here forever. Anyways, let's move on to my favorite of the trilogy, which is Pokemon the movie, Hoopa and the Clash of Ages. Really, this was just like an anime action movie is just the best way to describe it. And this is also a stacked movie if you're looking for like legendaries. A lot of legendaries throughout this movie. And like I said, this is really just like a fun action movie. Hoopa's a little annoying. I know a lot of people say that Hoopa's annoying, which is fair. But yeah, there's some pretty cool moments in this, to be honest. I had a decent time with it, 61 out of 100. Alright, let's move on to The Brutalist, which finally got around to watching. This 3.5 hour runtime actually didn't really feel like much of a 3.5 hour runtime. It went by relatively quickly, actually. I didn't think it was that bad at all. And I actually did enjoy this movie. I ranked it a 68 out of 100, but I would be lying to you if I said I loved the entirety of the movie, because I did not. The first half of this movie, though, or the first like hour or so, probably maybe a little bit more, I was really, really interested in this movie, and I was really locked in. And then I don't know what happened to that. It just kind of went off the. Not, it didn't even go off the rails, but my interest for it kind of went off the rails, and I just kind of stopped loving it as much as I was, which kind of sucks because I feel like the quality diminished a little bit when, again, I thought this was a really great opening to the movie and I was really having a good time with it. The time was flying by and I was really enjoying it. So, kind of sucks that it ended up being that way, but you know, it happens. I also didn't love the ending epilogue. I don't know, I just didn't really like that much. Didn't think it was a really good fit for the movie, but yeah, there's definitely some positives to watch or to talk about in this movie. So I'd recommend The Brutalist, which you can now rent, which is why I watched it this week. Let's move on to another theme of the week, which is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Mel and I ended up going through the first two together, which this is the first one, which I ranked a 71 out of 100. I had a good time with it. I think Mel also had a good time with it. We both had some pretty good chuckles, and this is kind of a childhood classic for both of us. And yeah, these Diary of a Wimpy Kid books were my shit growing up. I loved these books and brought back a lot of memories. So definitely enjoyable. 71 out of 100. Let's move on to Mother, which was actually my last of the Bong Joon-ho filmography that I wanted to get through. His filmography is really great. I quite liked pretty much every single movie in his filmography. There wasn't a bad one for sure. Mickey 17 was my least favorite, which I think is a hot take. And then it was The Host, and then it was Mother, which I did enjoy Mother. We had two or three really solid twists throughout this movie, which I really enjoyed, and some very phenomenal acting, and a lot of very good questioning politics and the politics, I guess, of Korea that Bong Joon-ho brings to to his movies. So really enjoyed that. Mother was definitely a thumbs up. I'd recommend that as well. 72 out of 100. Let's move on to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Now, truthfully, I see a lot of people saying that this is better than the first, and it is. I had a lot more fun with this movie. So did Mel. We both liked the second one more. Mel has a huge crush on Devin Bostick, to be fair. But yeah, or maybe just Roderick. I don't really know. Anyways, we both really enjoyed this. I literally smiled like ear to ear going through this entire movie. We had a great time with it. It was a lot of fun, quite funny, and a lot of good moments. Really good. 81 out of 100 for that 4-star rating. And then now we're on to the top three. Moving on to The Pianist. So I watched both of Adrien Brody's Oscar-winning Best Actor movies this week. And The Pianist is definitely better. It was really gripping and grueling and interesting. It's a really depressing and hard watch to sit through. At times, it's really sad when you think about it, and it's really sad to watch, and it's kind of hard to sit through at times as well. So, with that being said, I really did enjoy this movie. It's a very great movie. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I ranked it an 88 out of 100. Adrien Brody is amazing in this movie, and I actually think he's much better in this movie than he is in The Brutalist. But yeah. Quite a special performance, quite a special movie, I think. It's a really great movie, 88 out of 100. I really enjoyed it. Let's move on to number 2, which was It, which I cannot believe after, 8 years, I finally managed to convince my mother to watch this movie. My mother is very similar to Mel, where they absolutely will not fuck with horror movies. They won't go anywhere near them because they're just too scary for them. Now, I tell people that It is not a horror movie. There's some scary scenes for sure, especially first time watching that. But it's a comedy more than anything, I think. And I can't wait to someday show this to Mel. I hope I'll be able to convince her to do it one day. But I love It. 93 out of 100. It's still one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And it's just so great. I love rewatching this movie, even though I don't get scared of it anymore. It's just a very fantastic movie that I really, really love, and very deeply, it's like a very fond memory of mine as well, especially seeing it in theaters. This is the first movie I've seen in theaters 3 times, So it's quite iconic. 16-year-old Ethan at the time watching this movie. That's fucked up. Anyways, let's move on to my favorite watch of the week, which was Toy Story 4, which Mel and I had an emotional time watching this movie. The first time I watched this movie, I sobbed like an absolute bitch, and this time I cried even more. I was so destroyed by the end of the movie. It's just so sad, but it's fantastic. Now, I think Toy Story 3's ending is better, and it literally is just the most perfect wrapped in a bow ending. I think this one is also pretty solid. It's a great way to end, wrapped in a bow tightly, but we're going to have the fifth one coming out in the next few years, so we'll see how that goes. Now, I'm excited for that. We'll see how it goes. Toy Story 5, or Toy Story 4, I should say, is actually my second favorite Toy Story, which I know is a hot take. I know a lot of people don't love this movie, but I do. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.